Hey everyone, happy Friday. Riley Foster here in the shop. And I tell you, when I say this shop is a mess, I'm just gonna pan around here and give you a look. I've been doing projects and there's a motor back there in the back that an aluminum casing was split and I had to repair that. But today, and I'll show you that in just shortly, but today one of the projects I'm working on is I had a customer come to me with a dilemma. Thanks to John Deere, this is the dilemma he came with. This is the pivot point off of a scrape blade, John Deere scrape blade. And down in that hole right there, I don't know how well you can see down in there, but there is a threaded nut on the back side of this plate. Now, the problem was there was a stud, 1-inch grade 8 stud bolt that was broken off in there. And this is how I'm going to repair it. First of all, this was a 5-inch grade A stud bolt. He needed a 7-inch. Well, those of you that's got math skills can figure out one wasn't quite long enough. So what I did was I cut the head off of one. Yep. And I cut the shank off of another one. And I'm going to take two 5-inch bolts and make one 7-inch bolt that can do the job. Now I started this project before I did the video, and then I realized this is actually something someone may want to know how to do, because guess what? John Deere, in their great wisdom, they don't carry that stud bolt, that 7-inch hardened bolt that pivots that scrape blade. So I had to drill that out. And normally when you say easy out, people run because they don't work great. But this particular one was big enough. I drilled it out center and then got down to where, you can see that's pretty centered up. Got down to where I could put that large easy out in there and get that stud out. But I'll tell you one thing, I had to heat it up cherry red and let that nut cool back down and then put penetrating oil in there and then get that easy out in there. And when they tell you easy out, that wasn't the guy that was using it. So most of the time they don't really work that well. So that's what I'm going to show you here shortly. And this was a project I did. You can see in there somebody cracked that motor casing. Now how they cracked that I don't know, but he tried to repair it and then he failed, and so he brought it to me and I was able to clean it up, put a nice aluminum weld on the inside to keep it from leaking oil. And then this is another project I'm working on. I'm going to turn that into an outside table for a customer of mine. So there's multiple projects going on in the shop, but I'm going to show you, and I'll run the video on machining this, but this is one of the stud bolts that is just 5 inches long, and I'm going to add that 2-inch piece to it. And I had already started trimming it up when I thought, well, you know what, we could do a little bit of a video on this. So I am going to drill that deeper and clean it up, and that's going to be a 1/2 inch hole, probably 1 inch deep. And then I'm on this side, I am going to make a 1-inch pin, 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to bevel here so that I can get a really good strong weld on this thing. I'm hoping to make this pin last because, like I said, John Deere says that they can't get it right now because of the shipping crisis that's going on. So they need this scrape blade done. I hate the fact that he's going to pay a substantial amount of money to have me machine him a pin. Now, a 7-inch by 1-inch threaded grade 8 bolt was probably about $30, and unfortunately this is going to cost him way up in there because it's several hours of labor getting that stud out, and then I'm going to have to machine him this stud that goes back in. So I'm going to put it on pause here, get the camera set up and everything, and I'm going to go back to drilling that one depth out. And then we'll come back to machining this, or we'll machine this first. So everybody hold on to your hats. We're going to get it set up. Hey guys. Hey, I'm having a hard time getting the tripod set up in this tight area, but I can give you an idea of what I'm doing. And throughout, I'll cut it off and on and show you how I'm cutting this down. Now, I am going to have to take down more on that shaft. Oh, of course, look at there. So we'll do that. I got to make sure it's out of the way of the gear drive. That ain't too bad. All right. Now, let's see here. We got, oh, that's on. Touch off right there. All right, let's run a couple of rounds. Actually, I'm going to back out here and clean that off. So here we go. Now we're running about 1150 RPMs. All right, so what I want to do is I want to measure that and get really close so that I don't have to do a bunch of, let's see, we're going to set that on 1. That ain't. So we're going to have to go in that far. I'm going to have to back off to 3. Hold on 1 second. Let's zero that out. Zero that out. Just like that, and lock that down. I'm going to bring us down to 3/4, so it'd be 750. There's 750. So we're still coming down that far. Let's see if I can't just scribe a little mark on that right there. Now, if I can get that down to there, I can make it fit that other socket really nice. So let's go ahead and take that down and clean it off. Now you can just see that line that I'm going to go down to. I was going to do this, but the problem is the tripod is literally right in the way, and I cannot take a chance of, first of all, injuring myself or breaking my lathe. So this tripod has got to go. Got to back out here where it normally would be. Right there. Yeah, and see, the problem is the camera is right on the carriage, and when it moves, it's going to vibrate and stuff. So I will show you what I have accomplished shortly. All right. I'll get back to you guys later. Oh. All right. So as you can see, we're getting close. It needs to be down to 500, and it is just above, so we're talking 530 thousandths. So I'm going to run it on down, keep on cutting it, and this is the reason you got to be careful, because this is steadily getting slung out. This is a hardened pin grade 8 bolt, so it's very, very hard material. That's why I'm running the carbide. Sandvik is the name of the company. Guess what? Made right here in Mebane, North Carolina. How about that? So anyway, I'm going to take this on down, and then we're going to drill the other side. I'm going to bevel this so I can get a good weld on it. I'm going to put this thing together today and hopefully get him out of here. So we're going to see how it goes. Hold on just a little bit longer. All right, that's getting pretty close. I'll clean that off and get me a gauge mark on it. Hold on just 1 second. All right, so I've got that hole back in there. Not bad. Now the depth, and you can see the bevel here. I'm gonna have to weld that bevel and get it welded up solid. Now the depth is right there, and I needed 750. Let's see if we can get a light on it. There's looks like about 782. I think we can go with that. Being it's a tapered bottom on the drill bit, I'm going to go ahead and taper the bottom on that stud so there'll be a good solid fit. And I'm also going to take a little bit more off of that stud that I made. As you can see, it starts, but that's it. And I'm afraid if I don't, I'm going to press it in with a 50-ton press anyway, but I want it to at least fit and not leave gouge marks inside or not go in all the way. So I'm going to gauge it up, check it out, and we're going to go from there. Hold on, guys. All right, guys. Hey, we're back, but the problem was right now, I've cleaned my hands already, but they were so oily and so dirty. It takes so long to set up to do stuff like this. So what I did is I went ahead and pressed that in there. Really nice fit, 3/4 inch deep. A little under a 1/2 inch pin for a little under a 1/2 inch. So might as well say a 1/2 inch pin going in 3/4 inches deep. So I'm going to weld this with a 7018 hardened rod. And then we're going to turn it back down. I'm going to tell you what, this is an expensive bolt for a scrape blade, but he really wants his scrape blade up and running. Now the price is going to include removing that stud also. So hang on and let's see how far we can get with this. All right, guys, check this out. I've got looking pretty good, but I have got to finish up here. Yep. And make sure this is welded all the way around very nicely so that when I turn it down on the lathe, it'll be nice and smooth. That's the first pass. And that is with, I'm stick welding it with a 7018 rod. That's going to be, that's the remainder of it right there. Yeah, let's see if we can. I don't think it's going to focus in on it, but you know what, I don't care. Take my word for it. There we go. Yeah. There's 7018 rod. So that's what we're going to do is we're going to finish up. I'll put it on the lathe, get this turned down, and this job is done. right? Yeah. All right. Hey, sorry about the video being left on the run. I looked up and saw that it was running. This is what we started out with. That was broken off in a nut that was welded onto the bottom of that scrape blade housing. And this is what we've got now. That started out as a 7-inch bolt. It was broke. I took two 5-inch bolts. As you can see, the threads work. I turned that down. You can see I drilled the pin. It goes inside, nice and tight, pressed in, and then beveled it and welded a 70-18 all the way around it, and then turned it down. I think that will hold. And again, I have to be careful not to get all over my camera. It's true, it's harder to set up for a video than it is to actually do the video. So, hey, you guys, like, share, comment, all the good stuff. Let me know what you think about getting this guy back into his scrape blade. I wish he could have bought a John Deere bolt. It would have saved me hours of work. So, again, like, share, comment. Let me know what you think. Thanks and have a great day.